What's happening, people, and welcome to the first episode of Footy Talk. We're going to be discussing transfer news and just news in general. It's going to be a new show, and obviously we're going to be trying to do it regularly around lunchtime. Joining me today is Latimus Prime and Will.
Hi,
How you guys
everyone.
doing?
Back again.
Will sounds depressed already.
Why? Why do I always sound depressed? I don't sound depressed. I sound like a normal person.
Okay.
You sound depressed. You sound depressed.
If
But
we speak, we're in trouble.
You're not in trouble, because what am I going to do? Jesus.
Maybe you're gonna blow things up.
What? Oh my God. Jeez. Is that it?
this
Wait,
again.
Prime, you've not seen my face, okay? That could be racist right there. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, we move.
Okay, white boy. Anyway.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what I was going to say now because you two just, yeah. Oh, guys, please remember it's a live call-in show as well. So if you have anything that you want to discuss, obviously, probably about 20 minutes time, we'll be discussing. We can discuss what you want to discuss, basically. We're going to start off with Antonio Conte. Obviously, Sky Italia reports that he could be going to Spurs. Guys, what's your views on that, and do you think it's going to happen?
No, I don't think it's going to happen.
Passion merchants.
I do not think it's going to happen.
Why?
Because I don't think he'll want to go to a club where he actually, look at the players he has. Then he's not going to be back like he was at Chelsea. I know. Wait a minute. Let me actually finish what I was about to say there, because he wasn't back the second season, but the first season he got his choices. He got David Luiz, Marcus Alonso, Kante, Batshuayi, although that probably wasn't his son, to be fair. But he's not going to get anywhere near the level of players that he did at Chelsea, or even at Inter when he got Lukaku, Barella. So I don't think it's going to happen. And David Ornstein's even said today that it's not a done deal yet, and he's still considering his options. So no, I don't think it will happen.
Oh, that's fair.
I don't think.
In the back.
Put up Fator. I don't think he should. I think it's a terrible move for Spurs. If they just want short-term success, to be honest, that's fine. That's what they tried to do with Mourinho. However, you have to then back Conte 100%, and I don't think they will. And when they don't, like, people think Mourinho's bad, Conte's worse, and when he gets negative and toxic, plus his style of football, when you're winning, it's awesome. But when you're not winning, if you're not winning a trophy, or you're not winning games, like I remember second season, Conte was saying, we're going to have to suffer. We're going to have to suffer, and I don't have a problem with Conte. I love him. But if you're not going to back the guy, it's going to fall apart. I heard people saying stuff like, look at what he did with Moses and Alonso and stuff like that. Chelsea had the basis of a title-winning squad, already. People forget we had Hazard, Costa, and Fabregas, and Courtois, Gary Cahill, who had already won a title with Chelsea, already won a Champions League. David Luiz came back, but already won a Champions League. Aspie, the basis of a title-winning squad already. The reason we finished 10th because things just crumbled that year, but we had won the league the season before that. But when you look at him at Inter, it took him 2 years to win the title there. People forget in his first season they lost the league, or they didn't win the league. Sorry, people forget in his second season they got knocked out of their Champions League group. They finished third, and I know they won the city, and this is fourth. I'm not knocking Conte at all, but they got knocked out of their Champions League group.
Well, he doesn't have a lot of success in Europe, to be fair, Conte, if any.
He has no success.
I know. And again, this is not me digging at him because I respect Conte highly. My point is, will Spurs fans be okay with something like that? Well, like Inter are willing to back it, but if the Conference League, if they get knocked out early in the Conference League, are Spurs fans going to turn and get toxic, or will they continue to back it? Like the way they got toxic with Mourinho getting knocked out of the Europa League. Same thing, similar could happen with Conte. Will they get toxic, or will they continue to back it? If they get beat badly, because remember, Conte's first few games with us we were losing to Swansea and stuff, and we got beat. Was it 2-1 or 3-1 by Arsenal?
3-0.
Well, Spurs fans 3-0. Well, Spurs fans back that if they get beat 3-0 by Arsenal or by Chelsea comfortably. I don't know. Well, Spurs fans like the defensive football. When all I heard all year with Mourinho was just change your philosophy and play attacking football. It's this exactly what they want. If it's worth it in terms of just getting a trophy, then fine, I understand it. But if the end goal is just to get a trophy, then however long he's here, which is probably going to be a year or year and a half, you cannot complain because the end goal is just to get a trophy. So just focus on getting a trophy and forget your own personal and your own stupid little biases, your unconscious biases, because in reality, what you want does not matter. This is what Levy wants to do. So you have to, because Levy tried to do this with Mourinho, and people say he failed or he got toxic. The fans got toxic. They're trying to do this with Conte. Don't let it turn bad. Put pressure on Levy's neck to back Conte, because he didn't back Mourinho, he didn't back Poch. Because if you lose Conte, who else is actually going to want to come? People can say, "Oh, we attracted a world-class manager," but in reality, who is going to want to come after this? What top quality manager is going to want to come with options? Conte right now doesn't have options. He's linked to Real Madrid. Real Madrid would rather get Ancelotti, who is old and a bit washed up now.
KJ says Levy and Jose both failed.
Exactly. But Spurs fans are okay with it. They didn't put pressure on Levy. Like Madrid were linked with Conte, but they'd rather get Ancelotti, who's old and washed up. Juve, people forget Conte rebuilt Juventus, but Juve right now would rather get Allegri.
Prime, did you see what?
Hold on, he's brilliant, but he's a bit of a yes man. Like he doesn't have other options. Man United are not haven't sacked Oli yet. Arsenal haven't sacked Arteta yet. He doesn't have options right now.
KJ says Levy is sweating right now. He has to get this right.
KJ's spot on. He has to get it right. However, it's up to Spurs fans have to put pressure, because if they just allow this to get bad, which they did with Mourinho because they hated him, they allow this to get bad with Conte. What else do you have left? Because you said you wanted to rebuild, but you're willing to just have a quick term fix. Then put pressure on Levy. Levy has to get this right. But I know what Spurs fans are like. You're not going to put pressure on, and it's going to turn bad, and it's going to be too late. And then you'll complain, Conte ruined your squad. Because remember, second season with Chelsea, we still have the likes of Drinkwater and Bakayoko and Zabacosta on our books. Is this the sort of stuff that you want? Look at Conte for Inter Milan. He brought in Ashley Young and Sanchez and Darmian, and they worked for him. But when he bought them from Man United, people laughed. Why does he want Sanchez, who's finished? Ashley Young is finished. Why does he want Darmian, who's not good? Are you guys going to be okay if he's willing to buy some unknown reject for your club? Will you be okay with that?
What I would say, though, is I think they were linked with having a technical director. So what if this is sort of like a turning point for Spurs in the sense
the same one that worked with
to...
Conte at Juve as well.
Yeah, so what if it's a turning point in terms of them trying to structure their club properly so that they can be the big club that they claim they already are, instead of, just winging it.
Which Juve technical director?
The one from 2014.
Oh, okay. So I thought it was the current one that they have, which has been signing, players on free contracts and old players like Khedira and Ramsey. So maybe it will work out, maybe, but you have to look at past history, and past history suggests with Levy and Conte that it will fail.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, no, Dizzy says Spurs have forgotten Conte spent over 250 million at Chelsea and over 170 million at Juve. Yeah, he is a world-class manager, but my guy needs a lot of money too. That is true as well. Like we don't know how Spurs are going to do things in the summer. So, do we think they're going to spend a lot? I don't think they will. It's Spurs. It's Levy. I don't think they're going to change anything there.
There was one more thing as well. I was going to add to Prime's point about how how they're going to turn on him as well, and about how Carlo is now at Real Madrid. The Telegraph and the Athletic also said that they wanted Jose as well over Conte, Real Madrid, but Jose was firmly committed to Roma. So that's interesting as well.
Exactly. Like for me, it's a thing of
Big up Grandad Indy.
we transfer Prime for. I'll do a better job than Boris, but anyway, look, this could happen, and he could turn Spurs into a dynasty and do what Poch didn't and win the title, maybe. But history suggests that it will fail to fund the Haaland deal. Okay, thank you. No, history suggests that it will fail, and it's like I don't understand. I get Conte is a world-class manager, but I don't understand why they're happy. Like if another job becomes available, like look at Ancelotti. Real Madrid became available, and he left immediately. Well, who's to say if in a year's time, if the PSG job doesn't become available, because it will, with Poch, and he doesn't run the PSG, or if United becomes available and he doesn't just go to United, why not? United have the money; they'll back him for a year or two, and he could maybe fluke his way to a league title. Well, not fluke, but he can probably win a league title or maybe win the Champions League or something.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Moving away from Conte though, and Spurs, Arsenal apparently have put in a 30 million bid for Buendia from Norwich. Good player. What do you guys think of the deal? Do you think it's a good deal for Arsenal? Do you think it's the right kind of player they need?
I'll be honest, I can't even banter this because I haven't watched Buendia. So I don't know how good or only talking transfers with one sock on.
He's a very
if I speak, I'm in trouble.
Buendia is he it's a weird one, Buendia. Well, it's not a weird one at all. He's a good player, no doubt about that. And is he top 6 quality? Probably, yeah. I reckon he could get into most top 6 squads. Maybe not City, but that's a freak squad. 40 million, is that amount of money worth is Buendia worth that amount of money? I don't know, but his output was good in the Premier League. His creative statistics were very good. I think he got 9 assists in the Premier League with Norwich, with 1 goal. And he's just won Championship Player of the Season. So, I don't think he's going to necessarily be a player good enough to elevate them to a next level, but he was definitely helping. He's an improvement on a lot of their attacking options.
Oh, that's fair. Prime, anything else you want to add to that?
I do have clothes on. I'm not gonna come on stream
Just actually,
this is not. Well, relax. This is not the sort of stream. If you want to,
I'm not for watching. We'll see something else, I'm sure. All right. Next one.
No. I'll end the stream. No, we're not. No.
Okay, Aguero to Barcelona is a done deal, guys. Good deal for Barcelona.
What a shit signing! I'm sorry. It's not even the fact that Aguero it's a bad signing because of Aguero. It just doesn't. They literally got rid of Suarez for the reason that he's old and they wanted a rebuild. And Suarez has just gone to Atletico, won a league, and they've had to replace him with an old man Aguero who's injury prone. It makes absolutely no sense. They're dying. They're probably going to be banned from the UCL. They signed Depay as well. They're finished. Absolutely finished.
I thought. I mean, Aguero's not even better. No, we're not on second clip. Aguero's not even better than Suarez. It doesn't really make. Again, this is only done for Messi to appease Messi, which is why I keep saying. I've said for the past 3-4 seasons, Barcelona have been finished, they've been done, and Messi is holding them back because they're trying so hard to appease him and keep him happy that they're not building their squad properly. Messi's the one holding them back. But wait, football's terrorist. But yeah, anyway, but whatever. That's Barcelona for them, and when things fail and fall apart, don't say I told you so.
No, that's fair enough. It is a strange one because they did sell Suarez because he was old and past it, and then they brought in Aguero, who's had quite a few injury issues as well. So it's a bit strange, to be honest with you. But obviously that means Man City are not going. Well, they're going to be looking for a striker because they basically just don't have one at the moment with Aguero gone. Obviously there are links there, but we'll speak about them later. We're going to talk about Chelsea quickly. Links to Kane, Lukaku, and Declan Rice. I believe, who was it? It was Simon Johnson and Matt Law who were talking about Declan Rice.
Yeah.
They're tier 1, you said, aren't they?
There's actually been an update in the last hour on that as well, Rachel. Pretty much, because Lukaku said he wants to stay at Milan. Matt Law said on the London is Blue podcast that he feels like Chelsea might look at Declan Rice as a priority. No.
Okay,
Yeah,
you happy about that as Chelsea fans?
Which makes sense. If we can't buy our first choice striker targets, it makes sense not to then buy a striker this summer and wait until next summer when they're available and focus on other positions, because we do need another midfielder, whether it's to get a DM and switch to a 3 or a 4 at the back, or we stick playing this 3 at the back, but we have Rice as an option to play in the twin 6 or double pivot, whatever you want to call it.
That's fair enough. Do you guys think? I know we're not going to speak about that massively, but Haaland. Do you think there's a chance you guys get Haaland?
Yeah, I think there's a chance now. Sky have linked us to him. Simon Johnson said the club still want him, although it could look difficult as Sancho's going to Man United. Dortmund will look to keep him, and Haaland will look at his options next season because he's going to have a lot more suitors, considering the price will go down to his release clause of 65 million. So as Oscar said, I would take Haaland now. I wanted Lukaku, I think, for a bit. It's a bit of romanticism maybe, although he's an excellent player, but he's not going to come in now. I've accepted that. So yeah, I'll take Haaland. He's a goal scorer. All-round game is lacking, but he's young. He can improve. So yeah, I'll take Haaland.
So you take Haaland over Harry Kane, do you think? Or
not
would you
over
rather
Kane,
Harry
but I
Kane?
feel like City are going to get him. I feel like City.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. What about you?
I don't. Will City pay the 120 mil? No, City don't really. City spend money, but they don't spend over 60, 70 mil, which is proven by not buying Harry Maguire that summer. Which is probably now a good thing with Diaz, I guess. City will probably they'll either buy another forward to play false 9, or they'll just buy a striker on the cheap. Because with the way they play and their system, any quality striker they could bring in and he'll bang goals. It doesn't have to be a actual world-class striker. They could bring in people are going to laugh. They could bring in Danny Ings and it would actually work, because Danny Ings does get goal. Plus he's also English. Chelsea, I do want Kane preferably. I think he should be the target for us. But if it's Lukaku and it's what Tuchel wants, then I'll back it 100%, because I trust Tuchel. Dizzy says you can have Nketiah though, 15 mil. You lot can sign him and make fun of us when he wins you the league next year. Thank you, Arsenal. I'm begging you to sign him.
Oh dear. Would you take him?
No.
I'd rather have Tammy.
Slint. That's funny. All right. So we're moving on from Chelsea a little bit. We're going to speak about Everton. This is more about managers, though. So they're linked with CBG, Pirlo, Nuno, and Ranieri. Obviously, Ancelotti sort of bounced and went to Real Madrid, sort of up and left. Who do you guys think is going to be the next manager for Everton?
Pirlo. I think it's going to be Pirlo.
All right. Why do you think it's going to be Pirlo?
Because I think they're going to see Pirlo as a big name in football, and they're going to announce him instead of getting the best manager available.
Do you think it'll be a good signing though? I mean, Pirlo didn't really do great at Juve. In fact, it was pretty bad to be honest
He's
with
a
you.
shite manager at the moment, so it's a vast downgrade, isn't it? On Ancelotti, any of them are. But
Yeah, but it's Everton. Again, my thing with Pirlo is the same with Lampard. They both need to learn because I can see something special there in them, but they're not good enough at the highest level yet. Maybe Everton is the step down they need. Because with Everton, there's no what they finished 12th this season, I think, and when Ancelotti got there, they were hovering around the relegation battle.
Mm.
What like if he finishes 12th next season, or yeah, is it this season, next season? Who is that? That's not bad, is it? Like I think the expectations of Everton are not really that high, and maybe he'll be allowed to go there, learn. In a competitive league, by the way, because the Serie A is not. I know maybe it's getting there again, maybe, but the Serie A is not actually that competitive. The Premier League is competitive. So maybe coming here for a season or two and learning for Pirlo, it's not the worst idea in the world. But I think for Everton, see, I don't know. Like you have Gerrard there, and I know he just won the league title, but I still don't know about Gerrard yet. I don't think he's. I don't think it's that great yet. I think it's the whole thing of SPL tax. Maybe you've got Ranieri, but is he past it? You've got Nuno, but Nuno works with Spurs or with Wolves because it was a project there and he was backed. Is he going to be backed properly at Everton? I don't know.
Do you not think that if they were going to choose between Stevie G and Pirlo, which seems to be a genuine thing, wouldn't you go for Stevie G? Simply because he has, like, regardless of what you think about the SPL, he has done very, very well there. It's not like he just, had a season, didn't win anything. Like, he literally went unbeaten, won the Scottish League. Whereas
I think
Pirlo
Gerrard's a better manager than Pirlo as of right now.
Yeah, but again, I would not go for either of them. I know.
Well, who else can they go for, though?
Well, you're giving me the choice, so Gerrard, yes, but I wouldn't go for either of them. Plus, Gerrard, the whole Liverpool thing, would he actually go there?
I hardly doubt he'll go there.
You never know. Sven says that, I think this is in regards to Pirlo, that he's not really shy.
He's as of now he is Sven's.
Well, no, it's not. She's not shy, but look, Pirlo and Lampard they're good, but we're talking about the level of competing for league titles and winning them, competing in Champions League. They're not on that level yet. That's what
in my opinion makes you good. Pirlo's football was so awful that they literally went back to Max Allegri, a manager who was deemed dusted, and now they're going to sell Ronaldo to fit Allegri's wishes because they realise he's that good of a manager. So that's shown you that. I think that's really diminished the whole Farmers League approach to how people think. You've seen Poch at PSG, he's not won it. You've seen Pirlo at Juve, he's failed miserably. Won a couple of trophies that mean nothing, but so he's failed.
KJ, Everton wanting to get European football, too big for Pirlo and Lampard. KJ said Eddie Howe.
Yeah, that'd be a decent appointment.
That's
Graham Potter would be a less appointment.
Are they linked to both managers then? Are they linked with Potter or Eddie Howe at the moment?
I think they are.
Well, you never know. Like, just because they're linked, like managers are linked with them, doesn't mean they're actually going to, sign for them.
Would you people agree that Brighton might? Oh, sorry, I'm going off a tangent. Let's not actually get into that. Let's not get into that. Actually, we can talk about this later.
Well, sticking with Everton though, they are linked with the Lazio centre forward Correa. I haven't seen much of him. Has anyone watched him? Do they think he's good?
Not really. Not too often, no.
Prime, have you seen much of him? Have a look at his. I guess we can only go by stats. I'll have a look at them now.
Haven't seen him at all, no. Well, would it be shocking if they went back in for David Moyes?
I don't think he'd leave West Ham.
I don't know about that one. I don't think he's looking to go backwards, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Have a look. Fucking career. Let's see. Syria, 2021. So he played 28 games. He scored 8 goals and got 3 assists. Not the best return, to be honest with you, but there could be more to him than stats suggest. I don't know. Doesn't seem that impressive on paper. I'm honest with you, but he's not. Let's see. Hold on. How old is he?
29, 28.
He's 26.
Oh, he's 26. He's 26. Okay.
Okay, so there is some room for improvement, but it's not like he's hitting big numbers or anything like that at Lazio. So could just be one of those meh signings for them if they get him. But yeah, no, it is what it is. We'll just see how that one develops, really. Leeds are linked with Batshuayi, who apparently is still at Chelsea, which I didn't know. I actually thought he left. Would you guys be happy to get rid of Batshuayi?
Yep.
I would like Batshuayi as a backup, like third, fourth choice. I think with Leeds and the way they play, they create chances, and he would get goals for them. I said last summer that they should have brought him in as a backup option to Rodrigo, and obviously Bamford kicked in, and he's been phenomenal for them. But yeah, again as an option for goals, because you don't know. This could just be one season for Bamford. Whereas Batshuayi, he does know the league and he can get goals if you create chances for him. So yeah, I think it'd be good.
No, that's fair. They're also linked to Udinese player Rodrigo de Paul as well. Have any of you seen him play? I think it's for about 40 million euros.
He's meant to be really good, though, from people that have watched him. I've said he's really good.
I mean, the thing is, Leeds, they've got some decent players in there. If they can add a few more, they'll just establish themselves as a Premier League side, and we'll see how they pick them from there.
They get a few more. Yeah. They keep Bielsa getting down to a nice contract, get him some good players. Yeah, probably get top 10 again.
Slen says Batshuayi isn't better than Tammy.
Batshuayi is better than Tammy.
Well, you guys can discuss that between you. Big up Conrad.
Big up Conrad.
Yeah.
Just forget that Will's here as well.
No, he said big up Will as well.
I don't really mind. I don't need to be bigged up if you don't want to.
Oh, Will. Honestly.
Okay, small down low.
But yeah, back to it's 40 million euros for Rodrigo de Paul, by the way.
Around that. Around between 30 and 40.
Could be interesting. I don't know how much Leeds are willing to spend this summer, but could be interesting if that's one of many signings. Quickly go on to Leicester. Apparently they're linked to Ryan Bertrand, who's a free transfer this summer, and Jeremy Boga from Sassuolo.
Those are good signings. Those are really good signings. I thought Arsenal would get Bertrand as a backup, but if Bertrand comes in, and I know Justin and Castagna have played well, but they need an established left back. And if they can get him in, and they get Jeremy Boga, who is, in terms of their attacking options, he's better than Perez, better than I love Barnes, but he's better than Barnes. He's better than, in my opinion, Maddison in those attacking areas, and he adds a threat and a dimension for them. And he might take pressure off of Iheanacho and Vardy, not in terms of goals, but I mean in terms of being a constant threat and providing more, I guess, options and space on the pitch. I think it'd be a brilliant signing for them.
No, that's fair enough. Will, what do you think?
I think Boga's a talented player. I know a lot of Chelsea fans wanted him, and especially not this season as much, but last season he was very good. But yeah, I think you can't really go wrong with it if it's around 20 million, which it probably will be. I think he's around this. I think he probably is definitely more talented than Harvey Barnes. I don't know if he'll start over him when he's fully fit again. Yeah, I think it'll be a good competition.
Oh, that's fair. Obviously, they're still linked to Samare as well. I don't even know if that's happening still. I haven't seen much on it recently, but I imagine they're still looking at him or
That's
monitoring.
agreed pending announcement, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you obviously have your views on Samare, don't you, Will? But a lot of people are quite excited about it.
Yeah. All I'm going to say about that is he is nowhere near ready to start. Maybe he's okay backup, but there's no way he gets in that midfield for at least another 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to start. To be fair, I think like Ndidi and Tielemans are a pretty good partnership. Obviously, that sort of it's a good segue into Liverpool because they've been linked with Tielemans. What do you guys think? Do you think this is likely?
No.
Nope. I think Leicester want to establish themselves. They cannot get rid of any of their current players, or their current stars, I should say. Not unless, again, it's for an extortionate amount of money. But even then, sometimes all the money in the world just isn't worth it. I mean, look where they'd be if they still had, say, Mahrez. You know? So I think keeping hold of him could be major for them. Because next season, they could genuinely get top four. And I know they've fallen away the past 2 seasons, but it's keeping your core together, keeping your spine together, and not having to replace them every season.
Well, I guess there's 2 ways of looking at it, though, right? If they were to sell Tielemans, I imagine it'll go for about, what, 50, 60 million. That could help them like, reinvest into the squad. Although I get your point. They should keep him. He's a very good player. And but the way I would see it, though, is that when Tielemans went to Leicester, I'm sure a lot of people thought that was a stepping stone for him, but he would be moving on to bigger things later. So wouldn't that be the point of him moving to Liverpool, for him to take that step to a big club?
Yes, but if Leicester are trying to establish themselves, then they can't just be getting rid of players now.
No, that's fair enough, to be fair.
Because they get rid of Tielemans, and then next season they challenge for top 4, and they fall away again.
No, that's fair enough.
I don't think selling Tielemans would be awful if they got 80 million, but Liverpool won't pay that.
That's true as well. I don't think they'll pay more than 50.
If they paid 80 million for Tielemans, they could not easily, but they could then go and get DePaul from Udinese for 30, and then have a lot of money. I know they spent a bit of money on their training ground, which is meant to be like the second best in the league now. So they'll elevate them as a club. You know, they could definitely sell him and get a replacement. There's a lot of good midfielders out there, especially in the Italian league. But he's a very good player, and if Liverpool got him, I'd be a bit worried, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Liverpool are actually linked to DePaul, aren't they? You said obviously they've already signed Konate, which is basically a done deal. So they've got a defender in, which their fans have been crying out for, to be fair. But they are linked with Tielemans, DePaul, and Rafinha. So decent signings there if they were to get them. How likely do you think they are? Obviously, we spoke on Tielemans. Not very likely, you're saying. But DePaul and Rafinha, what do you guys think about that?
Interesting. Rafinha, he went to Leeds last summer, so I reckon it might be a bit hard to get him this year. I could see Liverpool getting Rafinha. You know what happened? Not what happened with Fekir as such, not Fekir, Van Dijk. But you know what happened with Van Dijk, where they were trying to sign him all summer and they got him done in January? I can see that happening with Rafinha.
No, that's fair enough. I think he's he's a very talented player, isn't he, Rafinha? Had a good debut season and all that. Prime, what do you think?
Oh,
Liverpool being linked to Rafinha, and
I don't think he's good. He's good. I think he's being overhyped. I think Leeds are, because the way they play is so attacking. I think their stats are inflated quite a bit. Like Bamford is just an average striker, maybe a championship striker, but his stats have been inflated so much. Like, this is the first season he's actually banged goals, where in the past he's been extremely underwhelming. I think Rafinha's stats are looking good because of their attacking. I would like to see him probably at least for another year or two. And to be fair, I don't know his age exactly, so maybe he's quite in his prime already. But I don't think he's that great. I think if they're gonna, what is the price tag for Rafinha?
I don't actually. Let me check it actually.
Because if they're gonna spend money and they're spending 40 mil, then you might as well buy Sancho or Pedro Neto.
No, it's true. I imagine it would be between 30 and 40 mil.
Okay, so just go buy Pedro Neto then. He's better. Or buy Podence from Wolves. He doesn't get spoken about as much.
Well, it says here that it's not going to be a simple deal because Leeds want to keep him. So I imagine it's going to be quite a lot of money for them to prize him away. So there's a good chance it probably won't happen then, because we know that Liverpool are not going to spend a massive amount on one player, especially if he's not an established one. So it looks like maybe it's just an unlikely thing. Maybe they're hoping that the price can go down, but overall that he'll probably be going for a lot of money if Leeds want to keep him so much. To be honest, it doesn't say the exact fee though that's being spoken about. But yeah. Oh, Will's back. Welcome back, Will.
Hi everyone, I like that.
No, that's no worries, no worries. Going to move on to Manchester City quickly. Two very obvious sort of signings is obviously Grealish and Harry Kane. Do you think they'll spend the money on those two players? We know that they're not really likely to spend like 80 million on one player, but to be linked with two players that will cost over 80 million each. Do you think they will sign Grealish and Harry Kane, or even just one?
For me, they will get both.
You
I
think
think
so?
they're going to sell a lot of players this year. I think they're going to sell Sterling. Aguero's gone. That's a lot of wages. I can see Bernardo Silva maybe leaving as well. Maybe Laporte. So I wouldn't be surprised.
There's also links to Cancelo as well, which is mad. But yeah, I think they could fund, what is it, Grealish and who did you guys say?
Harry
Kane.
Kane.
They can fund Grealish and Kane by selling Sterling and Bernardo Silva. Like Sterling and Bernardo Silva, that's 100 mil combined. So
That's true. And obviously they freed up wages from Aguero as well. Let's not forget about that. Even though there's no transfer fee, the wages are a big part of, how transfers are done as well. So there is that as well, to be fair. I mean, it's kind of a boring story. Like, Grealish has been linked with Manchester City for ages. Obviously, he was linked to United last summer, but there's no way we're getting him. But Grealish to Man City, I imagine he would be replacing Sterling if they were to get him, right? Like, Sterling's had a poor
100%.
season. A lot of City fans have sort of turned on him as well. Maybe he needs to move on. And then obviously Grealish is a very, very talented player. And would really
move away from City for time. Remember with the whole Sanchez saga at Arsenal? They wanted to do a swap, but I think it fell apart late because Arsenal couldn't buy Lamar.
Oh gosh, they've been linked to him for ages as well, haven't they? Yeah, Lamar. Yeah, I remember that. No, it's true. It's true. He has been linked quite a few times away from Man City. But he's always seemed fairly happy at Man City, though. So you just thought it was just one of those silly little rumours and that. And we all know that City like to stack their freaking squad with like multiple players from multiple positions anyway. So you would have thought that having Sanchez and Sterling would be good options for them at the time. But,
Cancelo, if he's going to leave City, he should try his hardest to go back to Juve. Because if you saw Cancelo under Allegri, oh my God, that season you could argue him and Trent, but he was probably he was definitely one of the best right backs in the world that season. So I'd like to see him go to Juve if he was going to leave Man City. I think that would make Serie A even more entertaining.
I think, and maybe that's why they want Kane, but I look at City, and if they sell Sterling, I know Sterling has not been great this season, and I criticize him a lot, but he has got a lot of goals for them. And so where's their goals going to come from? Which again would be Kane. But City are just going to be terrifying next season, aren't they?
He'll
I mean,
probably
in the
get another
league,
left
they
back.
always are terrifying, though, aren't they? In the league, they're always terrifying because they're always there or thereabouts, or they're just winning straight up. So, Slens asks, is Grealish a better signing for Kane for City, long-term wise? What did you guys think?
Maybe. I could
No,
see him being
I think
potentially.
Kane's more important.
I could see him being City captain one day.
I think Kane's more important for them.
I think they need a striker.
Yeah, because
But if Sens means long term,
Kane is someone who, for example, that Champions League final, if Kane played, he takes one of those chances and scores.
I don't think he would have made a difference.
Well, maybe Kane is one of those. Kane is one of those players that you just give him a chance, he will score. And as much as City maybe get goals from everywhere else, I don't know. I just think they need a bit. Add Kane to what they already have in terms of ruthlessness. I think it's unplayable. I think someone like Grealish just brings in more of the same. Is Grealish any different from Bernardo Silva, from Mahrez, from KDB, from Foden?
Yeah, I think Kane brings in a different kind of threat. Like, he's not just great on the ground; he's also great in the air as well. Getting crosses into the box, he gives them a new sort of dimension to their attack as well. So I think Kane is definitely a good option. But if you're going to long term, I guess you'd go for Haaland over Kane, wouldn't you?
Which is what City were doing in the final. The last 20 minutes, they just kept putting in crosses, but there is no one there. Kane is there. So Haaland's not ready. Can Haaland play the whole... Can Haaland play the way City play? I don't know, but Kane can.
Yeah, no, that's what I hear that. I hear that. We're going to go to the last three teams, and then we're going to do some calls, actually. But obviously, Man United linked to everyone, as per usual. The big story is obviously Jadon Sancho.
You listening, AJ?
Yeah, the big story is Jadon Sancho, who's linked to United for around 80 million, although Dortmund are looking for 20 million extra in add-ons. Guys, how likely do you think this deal is?
I think it's pretty much done now. I've tried to hold on to the hope that maybe we could get him, but I think it's pretty much done. I'd be very surprised if it's not done after the Euros. So yeah, it's gonna happen. Sadly.
Fair enough. I know you wanted him, didn't you, for Chelsea? To be fair, Prime, what do you think of Sancho to United?
I mean, I've said this and I'll reiterate. I think United need... I think Kane would suit them more than Sancho, and just in terms of they could play false nine and inside forwards. But yeah, he's a good signing. Quality. I still think he would take him a bit of time to adapt. Would it be a thing where there's too much pressure on him? I don't, because you're talking about the whole number 7 shirt and whatever, and he's this generational talent, whatever. Maybe I don't know, but I can't deny he does have quality. So it'd be interesting, definitely, and it'd be a thing where United fans keep screaming about Sancho. He has to work out, because they were screaming. KJ's in the chat as well. You've been screaming about how world class Martial is. He's flopped. You've been screaming about Paul Pogba. Circumstances are not. He's also flopped. So Sancho now has to work out.
A bit harsh on Pogba.
But yeah, we're not going to go into that Pogba talk because it's wrong that he's a flop. But
well, it's your opinion.
I think it's most people's who are being fair, to be honest. But yeah, the Sancho thing is a weird one because obviously this should have been done last summer. So it's a bit too little too late in the sense that...
You know what though, Rachel? I think there's one thing that could come out of this negatively for United. And I think that's... Well, actually, I'm not saying I hope, because I'm not a United fan. I really couldn't care about your club. Sorry, Rachel, I couldn't. But with the whole Glazers out thing, and it's sort of stifled due to the Europa League, and any momentum that is left, I think could be killed a little bit by this deal because they'll be so excited and things like that. I've seen KJ. If you're still in the chat, I saw KJ still post about how you've got to still be Glazers out even if Sancho comes in. Which I guess if I was a United fan, I would agree with KJ. So that's the only negative thing I think for United. I think United fans need to not get overly excited for this signing, and I think they've still got to stick to their main objective to get the Glazers out before they get too excited about any signings.
No, I agree. I think the energy needs to be the same regardless of how good the summer is going to be. Like whether it's good or bad, I think the Glazers out movement needs to be, just as loud. But the problem is that after the Europa League final, the sort of focus shifted as you'd expect, and people stopped talking about the Glazers and spoke more about the manager anyway. Sloan says, "I'm sorry, but there's no way Kane fits United more than Sancho." Fair enough. Gagany says, "It wouldn't surprise me if Chelsea sweep in for him last minute." It wouldn't surprise me either, actually, by the way. Like, United, they're just so bad in the transfer market. It wouldn't be surprising if someone came in and just put in a bid for Sancho and was like, okay, beat you to it, suckers, and then moved on. Because that's very much how we sort of roll in the transfer market. Like, we take ages to do something when a player's only available to us, let alone having any kind of sort of competition there.
I would have agreed with that statement if we still had Frank Lampard, because I think Sancho was a player that Lampard liked, but I don't think Thomas Tuchel wants him. So,
no, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Elite KJ says Sancho is better for us than Kane because we don't have a right wing, and Cavani is here to fill a space.
Yeah, and now Greenwood might be played in his actual position.
Viva la resistance.
Yeah, I prefer the Sancho deal over Kane, to be honest, personally. Although I do understand our need for a top quality striker as well.
Yeah, this one, we have Greenwood. This whole thing about Greenwood, I rate him. I know he's talented. I know his potential. But this whole thing and pressure about Greenwood, don't you want an experienced centre forward, a world-class centre forward you could learn from?
No, I agree. I think that the Greenwood thing, I think, as you said, he is very talented and I adore him, but he is still learning, and I think it's unfair.
As well for that.
Yeah, but the thing is, Cavani's fitness is a bit iffy as well. So if Cavani's injured and we have to play Martial there, which I really don't want to happen, and then we're forced to play Greenwood there, it's a lot of pressure on him. I know, he should be learning the role. He absolutely should. And he does need more game time at 9, absolutely. But to have to rely on him is different to letting him grow naturally.
That's why I say Kane, because people say Kane's injury prone. So when Kane is out for a month or whatever it is, Greenwood can play as a 9, as opposed to having, say, Cavani. He's old. You don't know what next season could bring. Maybe he just falls off a cliff next season, and then all of a sudden, Martial, does he kick into actual form next season? Maybe not. You have no one for him to learn. Like, a lot of the mistakes you've made with Martial is the fact of, Zlatan left, and Martial had no one to learn from, and then it was the thing you just got rid of Lukaku, so you had to rely on Martial. So even when he wasn't playing well, you still had no one else. And I think the thing with Greenwood, because he's so young, he's going to have games when he doesn't play well. And you're still going to have to rely on him. I just think he needs someone to learn from.
I disagree, to be completely honest. I can't lie, because the thing is with Martial, where he went wrong was Mourinho. Mourinho didn't know what his best position was, and then he wanted to sell him, and they fell out. I think that's what happened with Martial, and that was the downfall. That was the start of the downfall. With Greenwood, I think he's that level of talent where if he can't be a backup, when is he going to be ready? If he can't be a backup in striker, and relying on him isn't him being a backup. Backups need to be good enough to be relied on, and I think he's a level of talent that can do that perfectly.
No, I know why it felt. I'm not talking about the thing with Mourinho. My point is him not necessarily have anyone to, I guess, learn from. It's being what was it, 3 years ago now? Being that young. Like, I know you've got talent, but Martial has this thing where he just switches off, or it just doesn't work for him. And it's, I don't know, with someone like Greenwood, he needs to be nurtured and developed, and you don't want,
of course,
how United are and how toxic the fans are, with how the fact of you if Ollie leaves, you don't know what sort of manager you guys can bring in or whatever. He needs to be nurtured. I don't think he's going to be nurtured properly.
Yeah, of course. As you said, he needs to be nurtured by the manager. And Ollie, he's done. You can say what you like about him tactically or his in-game management at times, but he is a good manager. I think Greenwood would be a fine backup. He'll be fine. He doesn't need to learn. I don't think he necessarily needs to learn off any individual player. I don't think
he's already learning, isn't he? Though, like he said, he's already learned so much.
I know he is being nurtured properly from Ollie, but I just don't. I can see it falling. I'm just going off previous history, but whatever, it's fine.
No. The thing is, I understand both points of it. Ideally, we would get both a striker and a right winger, and the fact that we have to choose between the two is a disgrace in itself, isn't it? Really, when you think about it, because we need both. So, you could say the same thing about the right wing with your points about the striker. We don't have a right winger apart from Diallo, who's 18 years old and literally came to United in January. We don't have an actual right winger. So, in that respect, we haven't had a right winger for what, 10 plus years now. So we need the right wing just as much as we need a striker, in my opinion. And back to the Martial thing, I don't think the Mourinho tax is even an excuse anymore, because he had a good season last season and then he fell off a cliff this season anyway. So I don't think that it's even about that anymore. I think Martial just has a complete mentality issue and an attitude problem at this point, because you can't tell me that, he doesn't score goals this season because we don't have a system or whatever. But then he was scoring goals last season where it was a lot more freestyle because of the mess that we were in with our injuries and our players. So it's nonsense. At the end of the day, Martial isn't good enough. And we still need a striker and we need a right winger. That's how I would view it with those two. Moving on from Sancho a little bit, though, since we're linked with everyone and all that, there are links to Pau Torres, who we played against in the Europa League final. Good defender. Not really sure if he's what we need in terms of how he plays, because he is quite slow. I know people are going to say it doesn't matter, he's actually a good defender and positionally he's very good, but could that be a problem for us? Wouldn't we rather get, say, Varane, who we're also linked with, who's a little bit quicker, to partner Harry Maguire, who's obviously going to be playing on that side? The good thing about Pau Torres, though, is that he is left-footed, so he can play as left centre-back, which is what we need as well. Especially when you're playing out from the back, you'd rather have a left footer in there. So, do you think it's more likely we get Pau Torres or Varane?
You're spot on, Rachel. You're spot on. Pau Torres is a very talented player. On the ball, he's really, really good. As you said, he's left footed. He's a very decent defender. He's a very good defender, but he's not what you need. You need Varane, an experienced defender who's quick, dominant. Not dominant. Maybe dominant's not the right word, but has good aerial stats. He will partner Maguire very nicely. He's decent on the ball. He's won everything as well. That does help. Pau Torres would be better at Chelsea, in my opinion, on the left-hand side of a back three. I think I can really see you getting Pau Torres, and I think you will sign him. But I see this as a thing of, if Chelsea get Varane, I think you'll get Pau Torres. And if you get Varane, I think we'll get Pau Torres.
That's fair enough. So you think it's just going to be whoever gets one, the other team will get the other? That makes sense.
Unless we might get Koundé, but, and I'd like Koundé as well. But where we are looking at Hakimi as well and Adama Traore, I think maybe Reece James will be put in that right centre-back role. So I don't think Koundé will be targeted compared to maybe Pau Torres on that left-hand side.
Well, Stens agrees with you about the Chelsea. Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Gosh, who else are we linked with? There was another one that we were linked with. I put everyone, but there were specific players that we were linked with.
A midfielder, was it?
Well, obviously there's the Declan Rice thing, which I don't like as much as I would like it. Trippier. Oh yeah, there's Trippier. Yeah, as a right back option. I'm not the biggest fan of Trippier personally for certain reasons that aren't actually related to football, but he would be a good backup, I guess, for AWB, or even surpass AWB in the sense that he is a much more attacking right back. He's a lot better in build-up play, a lot better on the ball. So he would be a very good option on the right side, to be fair. We were linked with him in January, if I remember correctly, as well.
Were you linked last summer as well?
I think so. I can't remember. I know we were linked with him in January for sure. So, yeah, I think
KJ hits the nail on the head as well there with Varane. He's right.
Quickly back to Varane. A friend of mine who's a Real Madrid supporter tells me that without Ramos, he looks a little lost at times. So I haven't watched enough of Madrid recently. I thought a few years ago when I was watching them regularly, I thought Varane was very, very good. I don't know if he's declined or if he's just not at the level that maybe I thought he was, because I haven't seen him in the last couple of seasons. But if that's true about the Ramos thing, then it is a bit of a worry. But I don't think it is.
That is fair enough. But what I've seen from Real Madrid fans and Real Madrid in general is that towards the end of the season, especially, I think Eder Militão's been really good. I think he's actually been better than Varane towards the end of the season. So maybe it's recency bias. I think, Varane wants to move as well. You've got to think that he's won everything. He's won everything apart from the Euros, he's won everything at club level and everything at national level. So I think he might want a new challenge. I think that could come into it. So I think he'd be a good signing.
You know what? At this point, I just want someone who's reliable and who complements Maguire.
Yeah, and
that's all I want.
I know a lot of people moan at him, but he is also a leader as well. So
yeah, I think Maguire's underrated, and I think Maguire does a lot of work covering for other players that people don't notice as well. And that leads to him being out of position or him not doing something properly.
And because of your midfield as well, he's way too reliant in build-up play as well.
Yeah, he absolutely is. Like, he has to push into, like, you've seen it multiple times on the left side where he, he'll run with the ball and start dribbling with it. I say dribbling loosely because sometimes it looks like he's just falling over the ball at times. But and then when we get to the final third, he doesn't know quite what to do, and then he ends up going backwards. But the intention is there from him. He does want to get forward. And the fact that he has to bypass our midfield, our centre-back has to bypass our midfield, says a lot about the players that we have in there. Dizzy says, unpopular opinion, United need a young defender, too many old heads. Honestly, at this point, I just want someone who's quality. I don't want to do what Chelsea did with Thiago Silva, even though he's ended up very good signing. I want players that we can rely on for the next few years.
Kunde would be good. He'd be good.
I don't know. I know it sounds really bad, but his height does worry me. I get that he has a leap on him, and that his aerial duels are better than a lot of the top defenders. I think we looked at it a few days ago, didn't we, Will? Like, his aerial duels are very good.
As we said as well, another point is that you've got, and I think I was talking to Gunnar Express about that, and he raised a really good point that as the Liga, the way they play football, it could be a little bit inflated. His stats in the air. And the success percentage.
It's not just that though; it's the lack of physicality as well. Like in the Liga, there's not a lot of physical strikers where they sort of lean on the defenders a little bit and they're shoulder to shoulder.
I'm trying to think of them. You've got, I guess Luke De Jong can, and I can think of Gerard Moreno, but Luke De Jong plays for Sevilla anyway, so they're on the same team. So that doesn't mean anything really. Yeah, technically, though, he's one of the best up-and-coming young defenders on the ball. Very good. He's quick as well. He's a very composed defender. You see a lot, especially as if you look at his partner, Diego Carlos. He's not. I wouldn't say he's an awful defender, but he's very rash. And I think he's a leader as well, Kunde, for Sevilla. So I think him or Varane would be great for you. And even Pau Torres. It wouldn't be an awful signing because he's a good player. It's not the player itself that's the issue. It's just the partnership, and you need a steady partnership.
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's when you don't have balance, players tend to go out of position a lot, and it leaves gaps as well. So we have to take that sort of into consideration. We spoke about Trippier. Declan Rice is probably the last one. I'm not I like Declan Rice. You guys know I rate him, but the 80 million thing and the fact that he's more likely to go to Chelsea makes me think that maybe we're not going to get him. And we should go for someone a little bit cheaper if we're going for this. If we're going for this big sort of spending spree, which I really doubt, but if we are, we're going to want someone cheaper there. So I don't think Declan Rice is suitable at the moment.
People keep saying about the 80 mil for Declan Rice. You can get him cheaper if, like for Man United, if you add Lingard as part of this the swap deal. Maybe add Dan James or something. I think you can get him for cheap. The same with Chelsea. If we add, say, a Tammy or a Barkley or something in that deal.
No, that's fair enough. You never know. Like the Lingard thing does seem like it's the most logical thing to do, doesn't it? Because he's done well at West Ham, and we don't need him, so it makes sense that we would do that. But
With West Ham as well. I saw a link yesterday, I think from the Telegraph or the Daily Mail, that they're interested in signing Ross Barkley on loan as well. So
I'm not gonna lie, I don't really understand why. I think he hasn't been great at Villa. He wasn't great at Chelsea. I'd say Lingard would be the better option unless Barkley has like a massive sort of growth spurt at some point. We are going to move on to call-ins now. JB's been waiting patiently.
Rachel,
wait,
actually, there's one more thing. Can we talk about one more story about Sal? Can we just quickly?
Oh, Sal Niguez. Yeah, we do need to speak about him actually. He's been linked with Chelsea and United, isn't he?
And Bayern Munich today. Yeah.
Bayern Munich.
I don't know why I said Bayern because we're not a Bundesliga fan channel, but yeah, I would not take him. No thanks. Not what we need.
Prime, would you take him at Chelsea?
No, I think a lot. One, I don't think people really know what position he plays in per se, and two, I think there are better options out there. I think it'd be a waste of money.
That's fair enough. Sten's quickly asked United fans, what do you think of Douglas Luiz? I know he has the City fee. He's decent, to be fair. He is decent. I don't think it's what... I think we need something better, if I'm being honest with you. But he is a decent player, and he's done really well this season. So,
is he better than Fred?
Yes.
We're not going to speak on Fred. Let's get the first call. Welcome, JB.
Oh, hey guys. Yeah.
Hello. What do you make of the transfer news that's been going on? Obviously, you're a United fan, so what do you make of the United transfer news?
Yeah, I'm not surprised because Man United have been linked to like pretty much every single player under the sun, like so many different players. And there's like this transfer saga going on with Sancho. We really have to sign him. I think we will, but knowing the way our club is with transfers, like I'm not very confident that they're gonna get it done soon. I'm really hoping. I'm trying to remain as optimistic as possible. I'm hoping that they can get the deal done before the start of the Euros, but I don't know, because with Dortmund, I think they'll obviously want their fee to be met by Man United. So because I think it'll be like in the region of around 80 million euros, like between 75 to 80 million euros, probably something like that, which we should be able to afford, really. We should get it done. But like, okay, we get Sancho, that's good, but that's not enough, especially if Man United want to compete for the title next season. Like as we all know, we need to get a CDM, need to get a top class centre back as well. So like once Sancho gets done for the midfield role, like we could get someone like Declan Rice, and if we can't get Rice, because I know I think he wants to go to Chelsea. I think Chelsea is his main, his top priority. If we can't get Rice, then we could get someone like Dennis Zakaria or Wilfred Ndidi. I've heard like talk about Cooper Miners as well. I haven't really seen much of him. He played in the Dutch league. But I don't know, that could be like another option. And there's Ruben Neves as well. Wilfred Ndidi, Ruben Neves.
I don't think we're getting Ndidi. He's going to be too expensive as well.
Yeah, most likely. Probably will be out of our reach. And then for the centre back, there's Pau Torres, obviously. Jules Koundé, Rafa Varane. So we've got a couple of options. Varane is probably going to be the most expensive out of the three. And if we can't get him, if we can't afford him for whatever reason, or Real Madrid don't want to sell him, then Jules Koundé. I haven't seen much of Jules Koundé, but he's in the France squad for the Euros, so like clearly the manager Deschamps like rates him. I don't know. He might do a good job. I haven't seen too much of him. I know you mentioned that he's like in the air he's quite good. Like he's good at his aerial duels, so I guess that's a good thing. But Pau Torres was quite good in the Europa League final. Like Cavani almost scored, and then he headed it away. So Pau Torres could that could be a good signing, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
I was going to ask, sorry, if you had to pick 3 signings before we get on to our next caller, 3 signings for United this summer, who would you want?
So right wing, Jadon Sancho, in central defensive midfield, Declan Rice, and centre back, Rafael Varane. That was my.
Fair enough. I think that's most people's, to be fair. But
Yeah,
JB,
pretty
thank you
much.
for calling in. I agree with a lot of what you say. We do need players. Chat to you soon, okay?
Yeah, thanks.
No worries. See you later. Next in is Hassan, who is clearly a Chelsea supporter.
Yo, what are you guys saying, man? So I was gonna say, right, our transfer window is probably gonna be a little bit hectic because I think striker's probably gonna be our main one, and then from there it's just improving on our mid and defense. We've been linked with Lukaku. Sorry about that background noise, but we've been linked with Lukaku and a few other strikers this summer. One of them's not going to go. I think Holland's not going to come to us, so that's one out. Kane's not going to go to us, and Lukaku, I don't know because I've seen a lot of players like Havertz that say in the media that they're happy to stay and stuff, like, but we don't know what's fully behind the scenes. If you understand what I'm saying, like obviously the media and stuff, they're gonna ask players the questions. The players are obviously gonna give out back a professional answer. So I don't know about that. We've been linked with a few interesting ones like Chouameni from I think Monaco, is it? If I'm correct, if I'm wrong. And we've apparently been linked with another youngster from Dynamo Kiev, one of the talents apparently. Apparently they've got this golden generation of talents there. Because Dynamo Kiev have won the league there with their youngsters, so apparently he's really good for his age. Um, for me, right, I think we should look. I know these are United targets, but I think we should go for a. If we don't get a striker this summer, I feel like we should go for Sancho, Varane, and we've also been really linked with Saul as well. And I agree with Will. We don't need to strengthen a position that we don't need to, like, because we have Kante, Kovacic, and Jorginho, and they've won us the Champions League and stuff. We don't really need to like strengthen that. I feel like our priorities this summer is probably a striker, centre back, and maybe a winger. And I feel like it's more or less like clearing out our dead wood, like our Alonso's, our Emersons, like players that we don't really need.
No, that
And
makes sense. Okay, so 3 transfers. If you had to pick, who would you pick?
I mean, this summer probably preferably for me, right? Sancho, Lukaku, Varane, but it's whatever Tuchel gets, I'll back him because he's our manager. But that's my preferred 3 that
No,
would
that makes
strengthen.
sense. Prime, Will, you're Chelsea fans. Do you agree with those 3?
What?
Do you agree with Hassan's 3 transfer targets that he'd want?
What were your 3? Sorry, I like that.
He dozed out. I said Sancho, Lukaku, and Varane.
I'd rather have Kane, but
No, but Kane's kind of unrealistic. But if you look at realistic,
well, I didn't think she said realistic, but yes, Sancho, yes. If we get rid of Ziyech, center back.
if you get rid of Zuma,
Varane, I take Varane or maybe a Koundé or something.
and don't forget Varane's apparently valuation's 35-40 million euros, and that's nothing. Like we could probably get Zuma money for that, man. We could get Zuma for probably a 30. That's what I'm thinking.
30? I don't think he's worth 30, but some idiot might actually get.
I know he's not worth 30, but it's Champions League tax. You understand what I'm saying?
He could. I mean, Mourinho rates him highly. He could go to Roma.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fun. Would you be interested in Pau Torres, left-footed centre back? in your back three. Would you be interested in him?
Yes, however, he wouldn't. He's not coming in to start, is he?
No. I don't think it's not. I wanted someone that could compete with the likes of Thiago Silva, Rudiger and stuff. I think Varane would be the best one in the market.
So
I
if
wouldn't
you have
mind.
Pau
I
Torres
wouldn't
on the
mind
left,
taking.
Rudiger and Thiago Silva, you don't think that would be decent back three
I'd rather have Christensen there, to be honest.
over Pau Torres?
I mean, Christensen has not has barely put a foot wrong under Tuchel. So I don't know. Like Pau Torres. I don't
No, that
know.
makes
I
sense.
just
That
don't.
makes sense. Right. So your transfers would be Sancho, Lukaku, and
Lukaku.
Varane. Do you
Yeah.
guys agree in the comments? Do you think those would be good signings for Chelsea? We are going to move on to the next caller, though, Hassan. Thank you for calling
Yeah,
in,
no, thank you.
and hope to hear from you soon.
Also, in the comments, if you don't want to come on, it's fine. But in the comments, put down what your 3 ideal targets would be for your club and why.
Yeah, definitely. Next caller is Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you very much. Donny's got his first piece of business next week, so I'm looking forward to that.
No, that's good. That's good. What do you make of the transfer rumors in the Premier League and that for the Premier League says? Do you think any of them are likely? Are you excited by any? As a neutral.
I think I said this to Terry this morning with Varane. I think that if the Glazers pull this and Sancho off, I think they're good signings, but any signings the Glazers make is to try and trap fans into giving them money for the merchandise they're going to sell from those names. Because if you think of the names Sancho and Varane, they're 2 names that are going to sell shirts worldwide. So those names are going to make the Glazers money. It's going to improve the squad, but it's going to make the Glazers money even more. So I look at them as good signings, but I feel like they're tourist traps for United. They're just money traps. In terms of Arsenal, I mean, looking at obviously Basuma, looking at this 17-year-old kid, Albert Sambi Lacombe, I think it's pronounced. Laconga, that's the one. We're looking at him. Thierry Henry's said they need to get him. Basuma looks like it's all systems go. I think Arsenal can be strangely a little bit excited. Not too excited because they're still out of Europe, but I think they can start to think about maybe something out of next season, because I said for years Arsenal need to be outside of Europe to get a true rebuild. If the owners aren't going to sell, they need to rebuild without the distraction of Europe. Look how Leeds did. They had to, it took them 15, 16 years to get back to the Premier League after all that Champions League semi-final stuff. So I think that Arsenal need that season out of Europe to really, go back to where they were, or try and get back to where they were in Europe. I mean, on Chelsea, I think Chelsea's probably the only destination for Declan Rice if he's going to go anywhere. I think that with Harry Kane, the only destination for me is Manchester City or stay at Tottenham. Heung-min Son, I think he'll stay at Tottenham, despite rumours he'll go. I think it's a weird one. It's a weird one. There's some weird stuff going on in the transfer market today, and weird stuff in the managerial market. But I'm just more excited about my business, about my transfer business, to be perfectly honest. I think it's you know what's happening. You know what's about to happen. Medical on Monday for the English Perlo to sign with the club. A guy called Ben. Yeah. I've had Portsmouth fans telling me that he's on his best days like a Xavi or Perlo style centre midfielder, and the main thing we're looking for is players with football IQ and football intelligence, and centre midfield's the priority this summer. He is the centre midfielder with football IQ, and we're getting him on a free transfer as well. Portsmouth fans have been begging for him to stay, but he's going on a free transfer.
What's his name, Aaron?
Ben Close.
Okay, yeah.
I think he's 24, 25 years old. But trust me, he's Championship League One quality midfielder. So I think if we're going to go up, that's the kind of quality of signing we need all throughout this window. So I think that this is the perfect start for the new manager and the new recruitment drive. Because, people have got to realise the guy that's heading up our recruitment in terms of transfers is the guy that got Cardiff to the Premier League a few years ago. So he's not no mug. He knows what he's doing. So I think that he's working with Welland. He's working with our assistant manager Noel Hunt, who's worked with Ben Close at Portsmouth a few years ago in the squad. So they know what we need. And after hearing the rumor about Reece Williams going on loan from Liverpool to us, about a week or two ago, I was thinking, are we actually going to sign Reece Williams? And then we got the reports today that we're signing Ben Close. So very exciting times. And then on the out stuff, we've got two players that we were waiting on new contracts for that are going out now. It's now confirmed they are going out. Our player of the season, Reece James, who is a former Man United Academy player, he's going to a championship club. We don't know who yet, but basically the situation was he was going to the championship or he's staying with us because he'll never go to another League One club. So he's got an offer from the championship. He's going to accept it, but we don't know who the club is yet. And then our right back, Brad Halliday, basically, he wanted more money. He had a shit season. He wanted more money, and we said, no, we're going to let you go. So that's two players out, one player in, medical on Monday. And Richie Romano, here we go. That's basically it, really.
Oh, that's fair enough. Well, thank you for your Doncaster update. We always appreciate those. We are going to move on to the next caller, though, but thank you for coming on, Aaron.
Hold on. Is this true?
No.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for coming on, Aaron.
Cheers.
We'll catch you soon.
Cheers.
Next up is Gags. I can't. Also known as Gagging Deep in the chat. Gags, this needs to stop. You need to think of a new name for yourself on here because I feel wrong saying it.
Oh, you filthy-minded person.
What?
Jesus God.
This is your actual name, yeah?
It's my nickname.
What is your actual name?
You know, you know my actual name. It's Gagandeep. But Gags is just short because not a lot of people know how to pronounce my name properly.
Okay. Do you have a surname or something we can call you?
No,
even that, yeah, I'd rather not.
Just let him be called Gags, guys.
I'm not calling him that.
That's a you problem, Prime. That's a you. His name's Gags.
I know it's a me problem. I know it's a me problem. It's a massive me. Well, never mind. Continue what you're saying.
Yeah, Gags. Talk to us about the transfer news.
Yeah, nice. It's interesting. I mean, it's not. I think things won't really heat up until maybe until it gets to the nitty gritty, like the last few weeks of the season. Obviously, there's always rumors flying around here and there. Not much business has been done as well. I would say, obviously, when it comes to my club, got Konate done early, which is an area which there's no secrets was vitally needed after the bit of a collapse of a season we've had. I've heard I would love Rafinha. I can't lie to you. He's an absolute baller. I know the way Leeds play and the way that they play and the system and their style of play kind of brings out the best in Rafinha. But if you actually look at the way Leeds play, he starts a lot of their attacks, and he starts a lot of their attacks and he finishes a lot of their attacks as well. But the only issue is with I think there's an issue. I think in interviews I've been hearing that he's quite happy to stay at Leeds. But one thing I would say is that I've heard that they're interested in West Brom's player Matheus Pereira. I mean, if they get in Pereira, that might have a leeway for us to get Rafinha. So maybe that might be the case. And 32 million is a snip. So I'll definitely be interested in that. And I've also heard that we're rumored to be in for the Napoli fullback, Albanian international, Hajsiaj or something. His name is. I mean, obviously with Trent's injury, and Nico Williams rumored to potentially being sold, we're going to need cover for right back, and he's a seasoned vet, and he's on a free as well. European pedigree with Napoli, who are pretty much mainstay in Europe for the last 6 to 7 years. So yeah, no, that would be another signing I'd be interested in making possible if that's the case. And then I think in midfield, I mean, there's loads of options. There's obviously Neuhaus from Gladbach, who scored during the week. Another young midfielder, baller as
Ram
well.
said in the chat. Sorry, Ram said in the chat that he's going to Bayern Munich. I don't know.
Newhouse, he'd for me be the perfect fit for Liverpool. I think he suits what Klopp wants in a midfielder. He's very well rounded. Decent. Decently aged. He's like 23, isn't he?
Yeah, or someone like a Basuma. I think we're linked with Ruben Neves as well. I think one thing we have lacked in midfield this year is goals from midfield, and someone who is not afraid to shoot from outside the box. And someone like a Ruben Neves will be perfect for that profile of player. And also, one thing I would say about coming back to the Rafinha transfer is if we do get Rafinha, I do feel that he's a good blend. He's a nice blend between a creator and a goal scorer. But I think he's much more of a creator, which means I would love to also get a centre forward and a goal scoring centre forward. We've been heavily linked with Patson Daka from Salzburg, who I can't lie to you, does not fill me with a lot of confidence, to be honest with you. Like, because to be honest with you, the difference between him and Haaland was, I know Haaland did it in the Austrian league as well, but he was also doing it in the Champions League. And Daka hasn't really done it in the Champions League, and majority of his goals have been in the Austrian league. So I'm not sure if he's the type of signing I would want as a centre forward option. If we were going to go through that for that sort of profile of player, I'd rather go for someone like Andre Silva from Frankfurt, who I know has scored 20. I think he's outscored Haaland in the Bundesliga this season. I think he's got 28 goals, and Haaland scored 27.
Isn't he linked for Man City? If I remember correctly.
He is linked with Man City.
Yeah, he is linked with Man City as well. I mean, like another perfect signing would have been, but I don't know how well he's going to be after his potential career-threatening injury. Would have been Raul Jimenez. I would have loved Jimenez at Liverpool, especially with the creative outlets we have with our fullbacks with Robertson and Trent, who like to put a lot of balls into the box. Jimenez would have got onto a lot of and would have bagged quite a few goals. But yeah, as I said, I don't know how he's going to recover from his injury. But yeah, so my three signings I would like to see are Rafinha. I'd say Rafinha, Ruben Neves, or a Basuma, and then the Napoli fullback.
Fair enough.
So wait. So Ruben Neves, sorry, a fullback, and who was it? Rafinha. Okay. So do you not think that? I know you said you would like a striker at Liverpool, but do you not think it's a priority then if it's not in your top three?
I mean, because obviously you say you only mentioned three, but I would obviously want a goal scoring striker, because what I think that we kind of lack is like a different, sort of a different style in our attack, because I know our front three are quite fluid in the way they move, because one would pop up on the left and the right, and with the inverted forwards that we do get, that's where a majority of our goals come from. But against low blocks, I think a centre forward can be something that can change the game for us, which is what we've struggled this season.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Thank you for your call. Obviously, we'll probably see you on tonight with Fraud Watch anyway. Yeah, thank you for your call, and hopefully we'll hear from you very, very soon. And let us know in the comments if you agree with Gags' choices for the 3 signings for Liverpool.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for having me on.
See you later.
But before we move on to the next caller, thank you everyone for watching our first episode of Transfer Talk, and we've just got over 400 subscribers. It's been a great journey. Thank you. We want to try and get to 500 if possible. So, like the stream and our videos, share out across all platforms. Tag us if possible. And once we get to 500, we'll be doing a giveaway of a jersey from of your choice, preferably an English team, but we won't be fussy about that. And yeah, this is a little give back to you guys for supporting us on this channel.
Yeah, you guys have been really great, to be fair. A lot of regulars as well, so we appreciate all the support. But yeah, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. And we're going to invite our last caller on, who's Rams, who finally managed to stay on. Don't know what was going on there, but he is here. How you doing?
No, I'm not too bad, not too bad. How you guys doing?
Yeah, good. Same old.
Yeah.
So what do you make of the transfer talk that's been happening? And who would you, at the end of it, obviously, who would you like as your 3 signings for Liverpool?
Yeah, so on the transfer talk, it's weird because last season, Jadon Sancho to United has been going around for God knows how long.
Since he was born.
Yeah, since he was born, basically. But Borussia Dortmund have made their stance saying that we will sell him before the Euros begin. I think that's their stance. And the main problem with United is they like to drag it out along and along and along and along. So it's the case of the ball is in United's court, but it's whether they want to take that initiative and finish the deal. And there are so many vultures around, like the likes of Chelsea, that would come and take Jadon Sancho off them. And I think as a United fan, the longer it plays out, the more worried you'll get. So if I was going to give a message to all United fans, is prepare yourself for a very, very long couple of weeks on Jadon Sancho. That's all.
We already know. Don't worry. Most of us don't even believe half the transfer news, or we're just living in hope, if anything. So you don't trust me. You don't need to warn us about that one.
Yeah. And just on the Chelsea, the back line thing, I think someone like a Pau Torres would be good enough for Manchester City, for Chelsea, because look, I'm going to be as frank as possible. I don't rate any centre back that plays in a 3-back system. I don't, because the whole point of a 3-back is where you try and facilitate all the defensive duties on those 3 centre backs, and it provides a lot of cover for each of them. And Pau Torres has established himself in a back 2, which he plays against another slowish defender in Raul Albiol. So I think someone like a Pau Torres is very good for Chelsea. He's good on the ball. His defensive IQ is pretty good. And most important thing, he will last for another 10 years. That's for sure. So imagine him with Thiago Silva. It'll be a great partnership. But in terms of transfers for Liverpool, personally, we need a striker. So someone like an Andre Silva will be beneficial for us, not only because he scored a lot of goals, but quite a lot of Frankfurt's outlets are the likes of Filip Kostic and a couple of their midfielders, like I can't remember, it's an Australian dude who's been playing for them for the last couple of weeks. I can't remember his name. Who's been all right for them, and he's been an outlet for them. So someone like them, someone like a Kostic, who's very similar to the likes of Robertson and Alexander-Arnold, he won't be sort of alien to our system compared to other strikers. So someone like an Andre Silva would be good for us. A Rafinha would be amazing. I think as backup to Salah. I don't think if we're not going to get rid of Salah, him as backup. He's around the same age as Diogo Jota, so he will help us for the next batch of forwards that we have after Salah and Mane. And the last one is difficult because I'm contemplating between a centre back and a centre mid because I'm still quite concerned about our centre backs, even with Konate coming through.
He's quite injury prone, isn't he, Konate? From what I've heard.
Yeah, that's what's been said. Liverpool have done their due diligence, which is great, but I'm not sure about it. But I think we need a centre midfielder because other than Fabinho and Thiago and Henderson, Millie's getting old. Curtis Jones is still very, very young. And I think we need to fill in that void of Gini Wijnaldum. So ideally for me, because I know Neuhaus is going to Bayern Munich, I would get Marcel Sabitzer from. I've been singing his praises throughout the whole of last season. He will be perfect for us because not only does he work hard and he sort of plays as a number 6, that's number 8 for Leipzig at times. He could drive with the ball, and you saw it against England. He's not afraid of having a shot from outside the box, which we desperately need.
He's very well rounded as well, isn't he? He's very versatile as well.
Yeah, he's got an engine in him. He will last, and he's very durable as well, which we need to fill because Wijnaldum, even though he had his faults, the most important thing was he was durable and he could last for an entire season. And I think Sabitzer would be great. And I see Vel talking about Vlahovic. He's only 21. I don't want a kid. Maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, but not now. Not for Liverpool Football Club, not yet.
Do you think if you could get Vlahovic for a cheap price, would you, let's say, for example, around 30 million, wouldn't you think that'd be a good signing, considering if he has another good season, his price could increase?
No, because when it comes, I'm very, very cautious when it comes to youngsters, and also Fiorentina play a different style of football to us, and Italian league is a whole different ball game to the Premier League. So I don't really want a kid to come in. I want him to have a couple of seasons on his belt, and if he's still putting up these numbers, I'll go for him. But yeah, when Silva is 4 or 5 years older, he'll be in his early 30s, and I would like to ship him off, and then maybe a Vlahovic will come in. So
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Comrade asks your thoughts on Daka.
It's like what Gangan Deep said. Daka, if he was a replacement for Origi, I would do it. I would do it if he was a replacement for Origi. But
that's first choice.
But if he's first choice, I don't want him. I don't want him as my first choice. It's like I would rather have Silva over Daka. Silva's done it in the Europa League and he's done it in the Bundesliga. And no offense to the Austrian league, is not the same level as the Bundesliga.
No, that's absolutely fair enough, to be honest with you. Quickly, before we sort of like end the stream in that, Velbishwan says he doesn't want Sabitzer. Velb, you need to expand on this. Why don't you want Sabitzer? So I can, let Rams know in that. So if you were to pick your top 3 signings for Liverpool this summer, if you only had 3 signings to pick from, what would you pick?
I'll pick the striker. I'll pick Silva first. I think, and then I'll pick the midfielder. I know it's a bit how do you say it? A bit risky not going for another winger, but we have the likes of Jota who can come in. Curtis Jones could, and plus Marcel. If we do get a Marcel Sabitzer, he can play as a winger because he played as a winger when he was at Leipzig, especially right wing. So yeah, I'll probably go for a midfielder, and then I'll get a Rafinha if it's possible.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, Are you guys keeping Kabak because he's on loan to you, isn't he? If I remember correctly.
So what's happening? I think RB Leipzig are doing something. So we're taking Kanate, and Leipzig are going to be taking Kabak from Schalke. So I think that's sort of a deal that we did with them, not like explicitly, but
not directly with them, but
yeah,
it's
not directly.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No, that makes sense.
I think we were like, oh, we got Kabak, who's been decent for us, but he's still very young, haven't got experience. Would you take him off us or take him off Schalke? And they're like, yeah, sure, why not? So both parties are happy, except Schalke.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Rams, thank you for calling in. We are doing another call-in show later, guys, called Fraud Watch. Obviously, it's one of our more popular shows because it's basically taking the piss out of players and managers, as you know. But yeah, Rams, thank you for coming on, and we'll probably hear from you tonight.
All right, see you later.
See you later. Yeah, guys, that's basically the end of the show. Obviously, as I said before, we have a Fraud Watch tonight, where it's also a live call-in show, so you can call in, state your fraud, cause an argument, because it always does, because Fraud Watch is like that. But it should be a really, really good show, because we haven't done it for a couple of weeks, obviously, because of the Champions League final and that. But yeah, call in, state your fraud, cause an argument and whatnot. Obviously, Prime and Will. Prime's always on here. Don't know if he's even listening at the moment or if he's fallen asleep.
Hey, I told you I'm playing FIFA.
It's fine. Prime, where can everyone find you?
On Fraud Watch tonight. We're doing a special tonight on Fraud Watch. We're doing Team of the Year, and we're also handing out a few awards. So, flop signing of the season. We're gonna do flop of the season. Young player flop of the season. Saka.
No, not
flop
so.
manager of the season.
No spoilers, but also we're not putting Saka in there. That's just going to be a rule. We're not putting Saka in there.
Thank you.
Well, we didn't ask you, but don't worry. I've got all the nominees ready, and it'll be interesting to hear everyone else's input. On the panel tonight will be me looking for the plethora of Bundan. You spelled plethora wrong, but okay. That threw me off. What?
But the principle is the same, and I absolutely agree with it. Yeah, go on, Prem.
Yeah, we'll be looking at. So the panel tonight will be myself, Rachel, Will, maybe even Mr. Indiana if he drops in for a bit. Who knows? But yeah, make sure you're here, 10:30 sharp, and who knows what happens. Hashtag Pogba's a fraud.
Sick. All right, let's just remove him. Will, where can they find you?
You can find me on KH No Filter Football. I think we're close to 1.2k. So yeah, if you could subscribe there, that'd be very we'd be very grateful and very thankful. So yeah, and you can find me on Twitter at Will_CFC_ if you want.
Yeah, Will's an amusing chap. So
thank you.
Follow him. Follow his subscribe to his channel, and yeah. Obviously, you can find me on here, First XI, at the Devil's Avocado on Twitter and Instagram. That's it, really. Not really appearing anywhere else at the moment. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you tonight for Fraud Watch.